Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Backyard Birds, a very unusual Sunday night episode. This one is really unscripted, no real topic to talk about. This is all about the ways that you can support Mark's Backyard Birds. Many of you, and I mean many of you, who do support us through watching our videos and comments and sending the gifts or whatever they're called on
Supers.
supers on
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell we're not the tech people and the but and we get questions all the time about how they people love the programs and they want to help us, and what are some of the ways we can make sure that these videos keep happening and that the channel stays alive, and we keep adding content on there about birds, bird feeding, bird watching. And several of you are right now are supporting us through the online store, which is wonderful. That's we have the brick and mortar store here in Kansas City, and many of you have popped in and introduced yourselves and said hello and bought from the store, which really helps. And then even more of you now are ordering on the online store, and all those links and addresses, things like that, are all in the description below the program. You can expand it, and there's lots of details and that. And sometimes it takes a little bit after the program's over before I get everything up in there. But it is all. We keep it in there, so you can just click on the hyperlinks. It'll take you to shopbackyardbirdcenter.com, and you can search for your favorite bird feeder, things like that. But tonight's program is really dedicated to a lot of the items that we do not sell through the store. Hi, Janine. Um, the thing is that Amazon has a program where you call you an Amazon influencer, and that is that if it's a product I really believe in, and I encourage you to buy it as I say, just to make your bird watching pleasure better. And you go and you click on it through like this program, and the link Melanie put up right there at the very top. And you go on and you look at, say, a pair of binoculars and that I recommend, and you go and look on it and you end up buying it from them. Then I get a little tiny piece of that sale, which helps again to support the channel and to keep things going. So that's a lot of what's going on here tonight. I always tell you, I'm not the world's best salesman. I care far more about the birds than I do about the rest of the business, but we have to do the business. We have to sell things to keep the education part of things going. So I was encouraged to do this because what's the days called?
Prime Day. Prime days are the 16th and 17th.
The Amazon Prime days are 16th and 17th. A lot of people order things on Amazon that day. So to do something like this, so to give you some ideas of some of the favorite products, and like I said, you can chime in with yours as well, and we'll take questions, obviously. So let me see this. Who's checking in here? Hi, Janine from Syracuse. You were on the other night. I recognize your name. All right, Tara's watching from Central New Jersey. I've learned so much from her property. I love it. Thank you for letting me know that, Tara. That's great. New Jersey is a state I've spent very, very little time in. I'd go there someday. I hear there's some great bird watching in New Jersey. And Cape May, of course, is so famous. Good evening. How are you? Hi there. I love your show so much. Thank you. Well, that's right. You're in Southern Ontario. I do the name. I know you're not. Your name's not Working Bulldog, but I know your name. But I recognize your username for sure. Casey, hi Mark. First time catching you live. Tuning in from the St. Louis area. Welcome in, Casey.
Yeah.
And let's see, H&K's mom. Hi Mark from Borrego Springs. That's California, right? I know I have been bird watching in the Anzo Borrego Desert down there in that part of the world. Great place to go.
Hi, Georgia.
Attic. Hi from Georgia. Welcome in. Well, if you've watched me and we talk a lot about hummingbird feeders, and I've got videos on my favorite tube feeder, my favorite hopper feeder, and products that over the last 40 years I have gone through. and weeded out a lot of products. We've had the store open now for 22 years, going on 23, 23rd year. And there's a lot of things we don't sell anymore. A lot of companies go out of business. That's one thing. But a lot of it is when we bring in a product, we're really usually excited about it, and it really disappoints us, we get rid of it. We do not sell it because I do not want to sell things that I don't endorse. And and that way we feel like we can truly put my name behind it, or our recommendations behind it, Carrie's recommendations behind it. And so a lot of those products that we sell, especially bird feeders, bird seed, things like that, are on the online store. And you can obviously, if you buy them from us, that's wonderful. If you buy them from Amazon and places like that. But this Amazon Influencer program, that is, if you do end up buying, say, an Aspect tube feeder through Amazon, but you buy it, you go through and you find it through
your storefront.
My storefront, which is, of course, Mark's Backyard Birds, and Melanie's got all that set up. And if you look at it through there and you click on the link that we have, and you take it and you buy it online, we get, like I said, we get a little percentage of that, which is really cool. I didn't, this is that kind of stuff that I am not really familiar with. So Melanie has encouraged me to do this, so we're going to do it tonight. Yes, the desert. Anzo Borrego Desert is incredible out there. There's some birds there you certainly can't find in Missouri. Sarah Hepp from Sikeston, Missouri, home of the Throwed Rolls. Dewey Hepp. Hello, Mark. Love your program. Thank you. Oh, there's Melanie throwing in a link.
Yeah, I messed up on that one. So.
Here in Hunterdon County, which is closer to PA, but we have amazing birds around here. I bet that's really wonderful part of the country. We lived in Pittsburgh. We would cut through that area when we would go south to North Carolina for family and come back up kind of through that area. Really good habitat down that way. So I bet you do have some great birds in that region.
Tell them I just did the link to your favorites list. And if somebody will check it, make sure it's working.
Melanie just put up this link to Mark's favorites list to the Amazon thing. And if somebody will check it, they would click on it and let us know that it worked correctly. That would be wonderful.
This is all new to us.
This is all, like I said, this is flying by the seat of our pants tonight. New for us. So what I thought I would talk about first, some of the things on the list, and I've got some of them here in my house, and some of obviously their links are on there. But a couple of things that people ask us, yep, link works. Absolutely. Thank you, Janine. People ask about my filming. So I have the link to the camera that we use every week, and we have a link to the microphone that we use. Obviously, we've tried some different things in the past, and if you watch some of our really old videos, you immediately recognize that the sound quality was really bad back then, and the picture quality wasn't good. And so, these today, I've got the modern ones on the link there if you want to do filming and recording and things like that. They're just the products that I really, really like and that we have found that work best for us. So the camera and the mic are a couple of things that are on there. And also we have a mini tripod on there that Melanie's going to try to get her where you can see it. If you've watched our lives, you know that most weeks, she's going to whop me with it.
I'm trying not to.
Yep. A little miniature tripod that we sit here on the table, and Melanie is going over there operating that and getting that going for people on TikTok. And so we have that extra camera going on there. It's just a really,
it's like 16, 17.
It folds up really small. And I actually took this tripod when I went to Cozumel and hiked around with it because it's so very light. Now, if you've used tripods and you have a spotting scope to use, this is better for like a cell phone. This is a cell phone adapter here. You can put your cell phone in there and record and take pictures through that. But for a heavier spotting scope, this tripod is very, very light and not nearly as practical, of course, as my big tripod here, which is I have a link for that on there. This is a Manfrotto tripod that is made of carbon fiber. And when you are bird watching and you're looking through a spotting scope, that's on there too, I think. Or maybe we didn't get that on there. It's on our online store. But the spotting scope is so strong that if you have a cheap, flimsy tripod, and the wind blows, your image shakes and it kind of makes you dizzy when you're looking through that and blurry. Well, a good stable tripod is so important. And a lot of people make a mistake. They'll spend a lot of money on a spotting scope and they'll buy a cheap tripod and then they want to blame the spotting scope for not being good, where a lot of times it is that spotting scope. Carbon fiber is the best material for the money that I have found, that it is lightweight and it's stable and it helps absorb some vibration, like when the wind blows and things. So don't skimp on the tripod. It's always been my message. That is absolutely for sure. And Bogan is a great company. I've been using Bogan tripods for almost 40 years now, and they make good quality stuff. And the other part of a tripod is when you buy a tripod, don't skimp on the head of the tripod, this part here that attaches where your spotting scope attaches. And you're going to always want one that has a quick release mechanism so you can easily take that off. And if you got a camera you want to put on there, you have an extra one of these plates and you put that on your camera, you can snap it back and forth. And that is a godsend. Whenever you're bird watching, you want to be fast. This is a great chance for a picture that you want with your camera. You can switch that in and out. So a good tripod head, and a lot of times the head will cost almost as much as the tripod itself, but you want it to be able to turn all directions and you want to do it smoothly. We call it microfluid heads, so that it does twist and turns and angles up and things the way you want to. So when you're birding, the equipment and it's so easy when you first get started to you're not sure about the hobby. You're not sure that you're going to want to put a lot of money into it. And my advice, I've said this many times in my videos, is that my recommendation has always been spend up to the level of your interest, because you'll regret it if you don't. So a lot of people start out low, and I don't blame them, but then they find themselves wanting to make better investments because they love the hobby so much, and they realize that there is such a quality difference in binoculars and spotting scopes. Oh, I am a good. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like honesty is the key whenever you're selling. I always say I talk people out of Purple Martin houses. I talk people out of even Bluebird houses and things, because I want them to be successful. And if they describe a situation that is probably not going to be good for them, I definitely tell them. I don't want to make a sale and then they come back and go, I bought one of those from you and it never did work. So, I believe honesty is definitely the way to gain a good crowd.
Read that out loud.
Do you still get a commission if I add it to my wish list and someone else buys?
I think so. I answered her, I think so. If she picks the item from our storefront, puts it in her wish list, and then somebody else goes and clicks on that item in her wish list, I believe we do. I'm not 100%, but I believe that's how it works.
Tara, did you hear Melanie? I hope the microphone's really good, so I think so. Oh, there you go. Yes, it works, Melanie. Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. That tripod would be great for birding. A spotting scope is my dream wish list. Tara, this week I sold a guy a pair of binoculars, and they were good binoculars, but they're the M5s, which I have in the wish list. The list of my favorites. It's our best-selling mid-range binocular. They're excellent especially if you're not super serious about birding, but you're, like he wanted it because he rides bicycles and he wanted something that was lightweight and things like that. Well, he came right back within a few days because he and I had talked about spotting scopes while he was there. And he wanted to look through the Nikon Monarch spotting scope. And we took it outside and we go turn around and we were talking, and he's right. You'll use your binoculars 100 times more than you'll use your spotting scope. But when you have to have a spotting scope, you have to have it. There's no binoculars can reach out there like a good spotting scope can. And the bigger the spotting scope exit pupil, this is an 88, which is this end of the spotting scope. Like I say, I can see the rings of Saturn with it, and I can see 4 moons of Jupiter with it. It's not only can I see an eagle that's 3 football fields away, I can see it's stargazing, and it's wonderful. So it's a great investment, and you'll use it a lot more than just occasionally looking at ducks on a pond or something. But when you have to have it, spotting scopes are irreplaceable. And now with digiscoping, then I'll pull this up. This is what's known as digiscoping, which is this spotting scope with the digiscoping adapter that I have on the wish list that you can use for your cell phone. And what you do when you first get that digiscoping adapter, you adjust it and you get your cell phone. You pinch it, slide your cell phone, you get your cell phone and lock down where you want it. And then you have the pinch that you can set it on your eyepiece like this one is. And you just click, just touch your iPhone and you're taking pictures and video. And all of a sudden your spotting scope becomes a 300 millimeter, 3000 millimeter lens. It's amazing. Great. And it, there's the whole video I did a couple of weeks ago about it on there. So yeah, spotting scopes are huge investments, and it's so well worth it. Hello, darling. That's my daughter Morgan checking in.
That's what's answering Tara.
Yeah, that's you. Can't dance in there. Well, thank you. Yeah, and I do. Like I said, I gain nothing by endorsing poop. And there is a lot of poop on the market when it comes to products. And I figure let my experience with them help sort things out for you. And, you might, in some products, there's just such a small difference between, whether you want to pick an item like a finch feeder, some people much prefer this one over this one and that kind of thing. And I understand that. I just tell you what my experience with and our 23 years of the store experiences with people's satisfactions and things like that. So I'm glad it helps to hear that. Good. Excellent. Oh, binoculars. Oh, near and dear to my heart. I'm an optics person, and believe me, I always tell people that you will become an optics snob very quickly.
This is Tara, another one from Tara, same Tara.
Walk around the house wearing them. Well, let's see. Can we find my binoculars? Are they close by? Oh yeah, they're right here. I never go anywhere without my binoculars. We have a downstairs pair, an upstairs pair. One I carry in my car, in my vehicle all the time because I never go anywhere without it. If we go to the Billy Joel concert, which is the shirt I have on tonight, we have my binoculars with me. When we go to Starlight Theater, we usually take our, and they're at Royals baseball games. They're just so wonderful. And I guarantee you that when we go out there, I always say, I bet we got the best binoculars here because I have really great binoculars. And on the list, these binoculars are on the list. These are the Nikon Monarch HGs. And in my opinion, this binocular, and I've used a lot of binoculars, this binocular outperforms binoculars that are twice their price. There's a lot of reasons why, there's expensive binoculars and cheap binoculars and middle range binoculars, but you have to use them. And once you've used really good binoculars and you pick up an old pair, or somebody says, here, look through these, you look and they're bad binoculars, you go, ugh. But you don't say it to them because you don't want to insult them. But, like I said, you become an optics snob. You realize how poor quality some binoculars are when you look and use really good binoculars. And again, you get what you pay for, good, better, and best and everything. So optics, I've got on the list, I have entry-level binoculars because, especially for kids and someone who just doesn't want to put a lot into it, I have narrowed it down to what I think are, probably the minimum you want to spend on binoculars and that are still really good quality. And then the mid-range are best-selling binoculars. The Monarch 5s are outstanding. And they're lightweight, so you can walk with them and things like that. And then I have the HGs on there, which are, to me, the best binoculars in the market for the money. Now, there are $4,000 binoculars out there, and I have looked through $4,000 pair of binoculars, and they're really good. I'll give them that, but I'll put these HGs up against them any day. So, and they're a fourth of that price. So, yeah, binoculars are absolutely. Let's see. Hello, Ellie. Yeah. Yes, Ellie, you can drop in the store and shop. Now there are, and she does quite often, folks. Ellie's a real regular customer. Now, things like the tripod, I do not sell in the scope and in the store. The camera I'm using, the microphone I'm using, there are things on that list that I don't carry. The reason I don't carry tripods in my store is two things. One, they take up a lot of space, a lot of floor space for the amount that I will sell of them. Plus, getting a contract with a company, I would have to buy in at a fairly high level that I just don't think we would move that many of them. So I would rather endorse them and get a little bit of a commission on things like Amazon and go that route. And so that's why there's certain products on there that I just don't carry.
And we skipped one up here about recording birds, but you can go back.
Oh, I'll go back. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do that. All right. Tara, my friend that's living a block away, once caught me using my binoculars from inside my house. And I was spying on the neighbors. Nope, bird watching. Absolutely. Believe me, Tara, Janine, this time, and Tara, Ruth and I have done many breeding bird survey routes here in Missouri. And those include basically a 25-mile route, and we have to stop every half mile and record birds. And of course, most of these are a lot of them in farm country, so there's farmhouses, and we're out there, listening and using our binoculars. And we've had more than one homeowner come out and spying on us. And no, and we got the magnetic signs that we put on the truck that says bird watching in progress, bird survey in progress. So they, hopefully they would see that. So yes, I understand what you're saying. Your neighbors can get a little testy about that. When I see birds that are interesting, I always don't. Yeah, that is right. Yeah, Frontier, that's a real issue. Because it seems, you can't make your car make that sound when you take it to the mechanic. It's, where are my binoculars when I need them the most? Absolutely.
Yeah, this is one.
And I'm sorry, Richard, I didn't see you up there. How many microphones? How about microphone for recording birds? Now that I don't do. When I record bird sounds, and I leave it to the professionals to do really good birds, I just use my iPhone. I just hit recording and hold the phone up, and it usually picks it up. Or the Merlin app. You use a Merlin app, and it's recording it, and you can play it back in there. So that's all I use. I don't buy external microphones for recording birds and things like that. That's just not my business. So yeah. All right, let's see. Right.
I think we might be caught up on comments.
I think we're commenting. Oh, yep, we're caught up. So,
Okay.
So we talked about the microphone and the camera. We talked about the spotting scope and the tripod, the digiscoping adapter, which is a really wonderful. I'm telling you, folks, digiscoping. I told this in my program. It used to the whole digiscoping thing came about when they were looking at a swan in Pennsylvania, and the guy took his camera and put it up on top of his spotting scope and clicked it, and that image was said to be the godfather of all digiscoping. And now it has grown into a huge business with these adapters, and of course cell phones just make it absolutely so easy. And there you can take cover magazine quality pictures through a spotting scope and through your cell phone. It is amazing. So if you enjoy taking pictures, I've had people, especially not too many years ago, coming in and buying all kind of adapters for scopes and things like that. And now they just use their iPhones. It's so much easier, so much cheaper, and it takes just as good a picture. Now, I know that you guys that have those really nice setups and use blinds and take that professional level photography. Yes, there is unequaled, but for most of us who just want to take the picture through, and maybe frame it ourselves and put it on our wall, the spotting scopes and the cell phones are doing magnificent jobs. It's absolutely amazing. All right, let's see. Got a question coming up. If I don't live near your store, what would be the best way to get Hilltop Specialties feeders? I can't find any locals where they could. Yeah, Hilltop's a small company. Like I said, they're out of Indiana, and I deal with them a lot. And shipping them are expensive because they're heavier. So, but we have most of their stuff on the online store. You could try to contact Mel at Hilltop in Indiana. If you, like I say, I was trying to send you an email and see if there's somewhere close to you. But again, check our store. We try to be as reasonable with shipping as we possibly can. They're just high quality products, and they're heavy. So that's why shipping tends to be a little more. But the quality makes up for it. They're all hand built, and Mel and his wife Ruth are just fantastic people. So
Yeah, and tell him to email you.
Yeah, just email me at mark@backyardbirdcenter.com, and that's below in the description. And send me an email, and I can try to get your Mel's number, and you can call them. We just shipped a big pole system that I don't sell online to a customer up in Buffalo, New York, and he had contacted Mel, and then he contacted me, and we were able to arrange shipping. So we can, like I said, we can work with you and try to help get the product you want. Monoculars. I've never ever used monoculars. The one reason I guess, whenever you start using binoculars from the beginning, and I always have, and it's more efficient because when you're looking like your spotting scope, that the key to and me using spotting scopes is to keep both eyes open, and because monoculars cause usually eye strain by trying to keep one eye closed and the other one open, where binoculars are much more natural for us and our eyes to use. So I've never used monoculars. So no, I really can't speak to them because, like I said, I just think binoculars are a better investment and they're easier on your eyes. And of course, they're better for bird watching, get a wider field of view, et cetera. A lot of things about them. So now I can't speak to that. A couple of other things that are on the link that Melanie sent you that I find essential in bird watching is for 15 years now we've been a Tilley hat wholesaler. Is that what we are? Retailer. That's what we are. But Tilley hats are fitted hats, and they are the only hat endorsed by the Mayo Clinic for skin cancer protection. And having had skin cancer once in my life, I don't want it again. So I've got, and I love one of their taglines is "Practice Safe Sun." And I can't bird watch without a hat anyways. And the light, the glare, everything. So I always wear a hat anyways. And the Tilley hats have wider brim, more protection for your ears and neck. And I just truly believe in them. They have lifetime warranties. I mean, if they fray on you, they'll replace them for free. And they only company I've ever seen that has a lost, stolen replacement warranty. If you lose or your hat is stolen in the first year you own it, they'll replace it at half price. They let you get another one at half price. So that's incredible. My friend John, hat blew off his head on a cruise and went into Alaska Sea, and he never found it again. So he was able to replace it with that warranty. So I believe in the Tilley hats wholeheartedly. And another product, I had cataract surgery a few years ago, and I had really strong glasses my whole life. And of course, with cataract surgery, all of a sudden I can see distance, but I can't see close. But there are two things that happened. One is I was able to wear good sunglasses, but I can't read. I can't see up close because of the cataract surgery. It flipped, my vision. And these Maui Jim sunglasses, they're absolutely high quality glasses. My eye doctor is the one who recommended them to me, but it's because I could order them with the cheaters, if you will, the reading magnifier. So I don't have to take my glasses off to read the sunglasses and keep switching back and forth with cheaters and things like that. So I love them. I love the quality. And, when you're out birding, you're in the sun a lot. I find these are one, and I find that they're easy if I'm using I'm so used to using my binoculars, but I can actually just lift them up and use my binoculars up against my skin, and my twist up eye cups make that possible. So I love these, and I highly endorse them. They're high quality, and being able to order them with the readers built into them was a game changer for me. So, all right, let's see. Hi on Alaska, Wisconsin. A huge storm wrecked my pole system. Oh no. I had so much momentum going. The birds lose interest. And this is not a bad time of year for that to happen, actually. You'll get it up and running. And right now, I don't know about you, but for me, all I've got are juvenile birds, or mostly juvenile birds. Lots of house finches, lots of house sparrows. But, the chickadees will bring their babies in. The downy woodpeckers are probably, but not nearly as much as the others. So This is a time of year where there's still lots of insects, a lot of natural food, and we're just coming into. A lot of people are talking about the goldfinches on their purple coneflower heads and their sunflower heads they plant in their yard, and so you're getting a lot of that activity and a lot of natural food. So just don't I don't recommend stop feeding in the summer. I think you'll lose your birds that way, at least for a while, and take longer to get them back in the fall. So as long as you're back up and running before the cold weather sets in, get them used to coming back in, and then when the high stress goes up, the freezing temperatures, freezing and thawing, then they'll know where you are and they'll utilize it. I think you're going to be okay. Would you recommend 8 or 10 power binoculars if you had to pick one? Oh, Casey, that is the $40,000 question. We sell more 8 powers overall. And the reason for that is wider field of view, easier to hold steady for longer. And they're a little more light friendly, in lower light conditions. 8 power don't need as much light to work efficiently. That being said, I use 10s. I've been using 10s since college, and I can't go back. I've tried switching to 8s every once in a while. I am so spoiled. I just love that extra magnification, and I'm actually still pretty good at finding the bird when I put it up. If you're fairly new to bird watching, or you're not as steady with your hands, and you put your binocular, that 8 power has that wider field of view, and if the bird's hopped a little bit, you still got him. Where 10s have that narrower field of view. So it really is up the factors as to your knowledge and ability with binoculars and how you're used to using them. But if you're looking all the time at birds way out, like on ducks on the lake or shorebirds, things like that, 10s give you that extra magnification, and they're not hopping around all the time. But if you're doing more woodland birding and warblers jumping around or sparrows jumping around the bushes, the 8s, that wider field of view can be a real advantage. So for me, it's 10s. I understand why most people why it's 8s, if that makes sense.
So that's what I used.
She uses 8s. Yep. And we can switch back and forth if we need to. A black bear decided to bend my bow. Oh, yeah. Luckily, it was a cheap one. It was on the way out. Only my mealworms and hummingbird eaters are out now, and they come in every evening. Very smart. Yeah, we don't have bears here. Not yet, anyways. I mean, I know they're moving north in Missouri, and maybe at some point, but I doubt it. It might be a long time. But I have never lived anywhere had to work with the black bear problems. I've had friends who have, and heard their horror stories. Said, yeah, a lot of you guys, especially in the farther north, they just have to stop feeding once the bears come out of hibernation. But if you smart bringing your bird feeders in at night, absolutely, that's certainly one way around it. And storage of your bird seed can be an issue, right? In my video about don't store your bird seed inside, the bear people were going, well, where am I supposed to keep it? And I was like, well, if you have an outdoor shed or something like that, I just recommend in that situation, buy smaller bags during this time of year. And as much as you can keep in your refrigerator or freezer, do that, because that is, that's safe from them. It keeps the Mediterranean meal moths from being able to hatch. So bears are a challenge. They're a real challenge. Pair likes 8s. Yep, I understand. And like I said, we sell more 8s than we do 10s overall, and I understand that. I've actually been using a cheap 12. Oh, 12s are so strong for the last few years because it's laying around the house. I didn't know any better. I think 10s might be good. Yeah, if you're used to 12s, you'll take the 10s really fast. The 12s are, man, that's a narrower field of view, and usually quite a bit heavier too. So I think you'll really like 10s. Well, they do eat Niger seed, huh? Yeah. Again, I've never lived there with them. Supposedly they don't like the taste of it, but yeah, I believe you if you've got personal experience that they'll eat it. I don't know how they do with the hot stuff. A lot of people had told me that the raccoons would eat the hot stuff, but man, I have great luck using the hot seed from Wild Delight, and it's I leave it out every night, and if I miss and put regular seed in that feeder, it's empty by morning. If I keep the hot stuff in it, those raccoons do not touch it. But I don't know about people ask about deer and they ask about black bears when it comes to the hot stuff. I mean, yes, they're mammals and they have the taste buds, and it should be distasteful for them, but I don't know. And like I said, I don't have any personal experience with either of those species. So, well, dear, what else have I?
Okay, we haven't talked about boots.
Oh yeah, my boots. The other part that's on there is, and having birdwatched for 40 years and been a field biologist, there's no substitute for a good pair of boots, folks. Waterproof pair of boots. Gore-Tex, there was a game changer 40 years ago, and it's still the best, in my opinion, waterproofing on the market. I like Echo boots, but I also like Merrell's. They are comfortable, and they wear more, like tennis shoes, and you can tromp through the mud and mud puddles and not worry about getting wet. So that's another product I really endorse, because so I see people show up on my bird hikes and they're in flimsy tennis shoes, and there's just places like, if I decide I want to cut through somewhere, I just can't. That their feet are going to get wet, and I don't want that to happen. Or this one birding spot we go to a lot, that we need to cross a wet field to get down to the lake shore to get really good views of ducks out of Smithfield Lake. Well, if they wear tennis shoes, those tennis shoes are going to be soaked by the time we get down there and back, just from the morning dew. So, good waterproof pair of boots or hiking shoes is essential, and of course, a good Gore-Tex raincoat. That way, you can keep the binoculars already rainproof or waterproof. The spotting scope's waterproof, but if you don't have a good raincoat, then you're going to get soaking wet. That's for sure. So, those are important things. Excuse me. Bless me. Do you know of any no-melt suits that aren't absolutely sparrow-stalling magnets? Yeah. No. No, I don't. Our best-selling no-melt formulas are Peanut Delight from CNS and Nutty Butter from our Birdwatcher's Best. We saw a lot of it, but they're going to eat it. Upside down feeders slow down the starlings. They don't eliminate them, but I don't know of a single suet cake on the market, period, that the starlings will not eat. I mean, the hot pepper suets are great for discouraging the raccoons and squirrels, but starlings and sparrows, they're just opportunists. They're gonna eat them. That's all there is to it.
I don't think she's referring to that.
The
Monarch bundle has a lens pen.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting one, and I saw that, and I love the lens pens. I wish I had one here. I don't have one with me, but the lens pen, but camera users use lens pens, but they're about that long, and on one end you push the little slide button, and this brush comes out. You should never, and I mean never, like take your shirt and try to clean your binoculars, because there is little tiny dust particles, which are usually made of sand, on your lenses, and you can scratch those coatings. You should always brush off your lenses before you clean them with a cloth, or clean them. The other end of that lens pens is called a spot remover. It's a little flat surface that you can use to help clean the lens on there. But the brush is so important to brush off any of the dust that would be on those either ends of those lenses before you try to clean and rub them to clean them. So that's lens pens. And typically, I've given lens pens away with people who buy binoculars in the store. It depends if we have any at the time and that kind of thing. So, because I really do believe in them.
I think if we do this again, we need to have more props.
Yeah, I didn't even think of it. I didn't put the lens pens on there. That just happened to be part of that set that we clicked on.
The Tilly hat, we didn't.
Yeah. The Tillies are sized, and if you're really interested in Tilly hats, and I know that on the online, they're on the online store. I mean, they're on the Amazon store, but you really need to try Tilly hats on, because they are fitted, and most people buy their hats too tight. That is something Tilly will tell you right off the bat, that the hat should just sit on your head perfectly. If you had to pull your hat down, the hat's too tight. And they have chin straps, so they keep the wind from blowing off. So Tilly hats are great, but I really recommend, if you can find somewhere who sells them, get fitted. Know the size, the style that you want. The one we have online is the LTM6, which is my favorite hat. It is a big enough brim, but it's not too obtrusive. It's great for bird watching.
And
So
you've got it in a couple colors.
I do. I have it in tan. I have it in green. I used to have a winter Tilly, but her father took it home with him when he was here one winter, and ever since. So, yeah, I love Tilly hats. They're absolutely wonderful. They float. The guy who invented the hat was a boater, and he got tired of losing his hats when blowing off his head, so he made them so that they all float. They're machine washable. I don't use mine in the washing machine. I take it in the shower and a toothbrush and I clean it up in there. But yeah, they're great hats. Absolutely great hats. I just got Keen waterproof boots. Yes, and they're a game changer. Yeah. Oh yeah, you kind of have to find what works for you. I my favorite boots have always been Echoes. But Echo changed a lot in the last couple of years, and I found that the newer ones just are not as great. But the old ones last so long, and they're truly waterproof. And they do wear like a tennis shoe, and they are very supportive boots. So I love the Echoes, but it's more practical and less expensive. That's why I endorsed the Merrells for it, because they're they make a good boot and they're readily available. So. What else did I miss?
The only thing we didn't talk about was
the books,
the Flute Journey, and the Sand County Almanacs, because those are two great little.
There are two books on there. I talked about, if you were on my live a couple weeks ago, I talked about a Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold, and I said that night that book changed my life, and it truly did. It was required reading at NC State in the wildlife program when your first wildlife course. My professor required us to read it, and I thought I loved nature and thought I knew a lot as an Eagle Scout and not all that growing up through there. But I read that book and it absolutely changed my outlook. That's for sure. It gave me such a new perspective on conservation and land ethic, how we treat land and wildlife. And I highly recommend it. The man is the godfather of wildlife science in this country, and he's a poet when he writes. I mean, it's just unlike any reading I think you probably have ever read. And I really highly recommend that book. And then the children's book is called Flute's Journey, which is by Lynn Cherry. And Lynn Cherry is the artist, and she was the author of this book. And when I was director of Audubon in the Nature Center in Pittsburgh, we had Lynn Cherry out to do a talk to teachers and a book signing. And she was a magnificent woman. She stayed until the last book was signed, and teachers were standing in line wrapped around the Nature Center with a whole stack of her books. And it was so gracious and was wonderful. But the Flute's Journey story is about a wood thrush. And that's who Flute is. And it's about his life, migration, and habitat fragmentation. And it's a true story about a parcel of land that was left to a church by the landowner with the wishes that it never be harvested. Well, it happened that the church decided to sell it to a developer, and an elementary school class found out about this, and they wrote the church and told them, "Shame on you! How can you do this?" And it was all the backdrop of this whole story is Flute, the wood thrush, going to Central America in the winter and coming back to these woods and nesting each season and back and forth. And lo and behold, they shamed the church into turning the tract of land over to a conservation group. So it's a great empowerment story for young people, and it's also a great natural history lesson about wood thrushes, which are just to me, the most beautiful bird song in Eastern North America. So it's worth reading. If you can get a copy of it for read to your kids, your grandkids, it's just for yourself. It's a great story. And I have an autographed copy, and we love it. It's a valued member of our shelf over there by us. So I think that's it. I think those are all the items. And if you guys have any other questions, if not, we're going to try to shut down here and enjoy our Sunday evening. We appreciate the continued support, folks. You guys are wonderful. And thank you so much for participating and asking questions, and the support of the online store and this influencer program. All that helps. We can keep doing these programs and putting content up. I think tomorrow night's program is going to be about quality bird seed and about reading the labels on bird seed and what's good and what's not. What would you recommend for a tray feeder? Besides, in my tray feeder, I use Nutrisaf, and that is the anti-squirrel, and the raccoons don't touch it, and the cardinals love it, the house wrens love it. Everybody, I am really sold on Nutrisaf now that we've moved into this house and having to feed from our deck. So, if you don't have any trouble with pests, a good mixture like Boardwalk Glen or Nuttenberry or one of those great mixtures, high quality mixtures, yes. But if you've got squirrel issues or blackbird issues, I love just straight Nutrisaf. The cardinals absolutely love it. So that's what I would definitely go with. Conservation education for kids. Yep, my kid now constantly ask me if plants and animals are native. I love it. That is that's great teaching because there are so many invasives out there that are really bad. You're right. Well, thank you, Jenny. Again, that's my goal. I love when you guys let me know that you are learning. Absolutely. You're welcome, Tara. Again, glad to do it. Thank you, Melanie. And Mark.
You're welcome.
I can't wait to get my Aspic Humzinger. Oh, yes, absolutely. Will it take a moment for the homebrew to come back? But the Humzingers are wonderful, and the bees. That is just fill it only about half full, and the bees it really thwarts them, if you will. So yeah, and right now there's all the babies are starting to come in, so the hummers are really busy. They should find it pretty quickly. Guys, thank you so much again for tuning in tonight, and I will have a video posted tomorrow night. It won't be live, but keep up, and we appreciate the following and keeping us going. A switch from shell black oil to sunflower chips in my tube feeder. Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the whole sunflower, the chips, many birds love them. It's so easy to dart their tongue in there and you can get them. And it's the boneless, skinless chicken, which is really kind of a bad analogy in this world, I guess. But that's kind of they least amount of work for the most amount of gain is what I always say. Please, yes, that's right. I forgot, Melanie. Please give us a like, share. If you would, let your friends know about us. That helps so much. Until then, come on, let's talk birds.